Hey, this is Gary Talley, and I want to welcome you to my Dadgum podcast. I'm going to be talking about my experience in the music business, playing with the Box Tops in the 60s, the Beach Boys, Jimi Hendrix, the Doors, a lot of interesting stuff. I'm going to be interviewing other musicians. We're going to be talking to my mom, Nita Talley, and how she learned how to play and sing. We're going to be talking about how to play a musical instrument, how to learn how to play, and some misconceptions people have about learning to play an instrument, especially guitar. I want to remind you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go to my website, garytalley.com, and follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Let me know what you want to talk about, and stay tuned. Here we are again for another Gary Talley podcast. This one takes place in 1968. The Box Tops are on the road somewhere in the Midwest. Cleve, our road manager, is driving our leased Plymouth station wagon, and I'm sitting in the front seat too. And this comes on the radio. After about 5 seconds, we pulled the car over and stopped and listened to something we had never heard before. Nobody had ever heard anything like Jimi Hendrix before. We were shocked. The song was Purple Haze, and we didn't even know for sure if that was a guitar. But it just floored us. And we began to hear about Jimi Hendrix and the Are You Experienced album, and he was just a groundbreaker. He was a pioneer. People today don't realize that he was the first one to get a lot of those guitar sounds and use a lot of those techniques that are now our star in the world, really. People like Eric Clapton and Jeff Beck were very impressed with Jimi Hendrix. So the Box Tops were in New York City sometime in 1968, and our publicist or somebody let us know that there was a club called The Scene, owned by a guy named Steve Paul, and it was a great place to go hear music. We saw Traffic there. We went there with Sly and the Family Stone to hear Traffic. So the buzz was that Jimi Hendrix was coming down that night to sit in with this blues band called Kensington Market. I think they were Canadian, I'm not sure. Anyway, so Cleve and I went down there, sat in the floor right in front of the stage. It was a tiny club, kind of like the Bluebird in Nashville. The stage was only about 6 or 8 inches high, not a big stage. It was risers and everything. So this band, Kensington Market, plays a set. They're a good blues band. And sure enough, on the break, here comes Jimi Hendrix out onto the stage, wearing mostly white. He had a hat on with a big scarf, and he was carrying a Stratocaster and a wah-wah pedal and a fuzz face distortion pedal. And he hooks it up, and we're 6 feet away from him. We're the first people right in front of him. So he hooks his pedals up and tunes up. The band comes back out there, and they launch into the whole Are You Experienced album. I think they did every tune on the album. And he was doing things that I thought were overdubs on the record, but he was doing them. His hands were really big, and it looked like he could put his thumb like down on the 3rd fret and reach almost up to the 10th fret or someplace with his little finger. Really big hands. Well, he made so many sounds I'd never heard before. I think everybody was almost in a trance listening to him. It kind of took you into another world. It's hard to explain. So he finishes the set, walks off the stage. Everybody's just sitting there stunned. And Cleve and I are looking at each other like, wow, did that really happen? That was amazing. So we walk out into the lobby, and we figure, he's got in a limo. He must have been in a limo. and gone by now. So we're just talking about how awesome it was. And 3 feet away from us is a door leading backstage. So the door opens up, and there's Jimi Hendrix. He's standing right there next to Cleve and I. And I just stuck out my hand and said, "Hey, man," I was in a daze or a trance. I'm not even sure what I said. Something like, "Hey, man, you're great. I loved it. You're amazing," whatever. Anyway, he shakes my hand, and again, I notice how big his hands are. And he says, "Thanks, man." Real shy, like even kind of looking at the floor. He was so shy, seemed shy. And anyway, he walked away, and that was my experience meeting Jimi Hendrix. Later on, of course, he made more recordings, and I tried to learn every lick and had a Marshall amp and a Stratocaster and wanted to be Jimi Hendrix like a lot of people did. I often wonder if he hadn't died so young, what he would have done, because there was nobody like him. Thanks for listening to my Dadgum podcast. I want to invite you to interact with me by going to my website, GaryTalley.com. When you get there, you can book me to play gigs, or teach guitar workshops, or book individual guitar lessons. You can follow the Box Tops touring schedule. You can link to my YouTube channel and subscribe to that. See videos of my mom, Nita Talley, singing and playing piano, and buy my mom's CDs. I play live around Nashville in a few bands. I have a duo with Sally Sladen-Berry called Take Two, and we've got a Facebook page. I do recording around Nashville, playing guitar on songs, and I can do that for you too. Thanks for listening.